Coming up in today's show, farmers get a $12 billion boost. Hollywood faces a $108 billion takeover shock. And the original Star Wars is heading back to theaters. Plus, a border warning the Biden team didn't act on. The surprising new voice joining New York's mayor-elect. And why Yellowstone says cotton could put you in danger. And here's the trivia question. What bird has the longest wingspan? It's Tuesday, December 9th. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Hello and welcome to Tuesday. I hope you're enjoying your holiday season so far and that your shopping isn't breaking your bank. If it is, we have a holiday gift guide to keep you on budget while also keeping your family and friends excited about their gifts. You can find that at theflyovergiftguide.com. All right, let's take off with the biggest headlines of the day. President Trump rolled out a $12 billion aid package for farmers on Monday, calling the money, quote, bridge payments to help producers deal with the impact of his own tariff policies. The plan includes $11 billion in one-time payments through a new USDA program called Farmer Bridge Assistance, with another $1 billion set aside for specialty crops that weren't covered up front. President Trump says the money comes from tariff revenue and will be fully distributed by February 28th. With payment amounts announced by the end of December. The program is aimed at farmers making under $900,000 a year and focuses on crops hit hard by the China trade war, things like soybeans, corn, cotton, wheat, rice, and more. He also promised to roll back environmental rules on farm machinery to lower equipment costs. Paramount just launched a massive $108 billion hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, and the move comes only days after Paramount lost the studio to Netflix in a long, messy bidding war. CEO David Ellison bypassed Warner Brothers leadership entirely and took the all-cash $30 per share offer straight to shareholders. That price is $17.6 billion higher than Netflix's previous cash and stock deal. And unlike Netflix, which only wanted the studio and streaming arms, Paramount is offering to buy the entire company, meaning CNN, HBO, Discovery Channel, and TNT Sports. They would all stay together. The financing comes from Larry Ellison, Redbird Capital, a $24 billion commitment from Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds, and Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners, all of whom agreed to forego board seats and voting rights. President Trump has already raised antitrust concerns about Netflix's deal because of its market dominance. And speaking of television, Disney announced that the 1977 theatrical cut of Star Wars is coming back to theaters on February 19th, 2027 for the film's 50th anniversary. This is the original, unaltered version, not the 1997 special edition with the CGI add-ons and the infamous Greedo shoots first change. George Lucas had long insisted the original cut would never return, saying the special edition was the version he wanted in circulation. But Disney's doing a limited restoration and theatrical run ahead of its next film in the franchise, Star Wars Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling, which hits theaters March 28th, 2027. Here's what's happening in politics today. President Trump says he'll sign an executive order this week to create what he calls one rule book for artificial intelligence, basically a national standard that would stop states from making their own AI regulations. Legal experts say that's almost guaranteed to face challenges in court, but the White House says a single set of rules is the best way to keep companies competitive and innovation moving. Meanwhile, in Texas, Rep. Jasmine Crockett has officially filed paperwork to run in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate. She's aiming to replace Senator Ted Cruz, who isn't running for re-election in 2026, and her campaign is expected to shake up what's already becoming a high-energy race. Over in New Jersey, Alina Habba is stepping down as U.S. attorney after federal courts ruled she was unlawfully appointed. She says she'll stay on at the Justice Department as a senior advisor to Attorney General Pam Bondi. Habba had faced ongoing criticism over her appointment from both legal experts and lawmakers. And President Trump is firing back at Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene after she claimed on 60 Minutes that he's, quote, forsaken his base. Trump responded on Truth Social, writing, quote, she was doing a great disservice to the Republican Party and to MAGA. She's become impossible to deal with. This comes as the two have had a very public falling out in recent weeks. Here are those podcast extra stories that you won't find in the email edition. A newly uncovered memo shows President Biden was warned that his immigration proposals could cause, quote, chaos, but he moved forward anyway. The New York Times reports that during the 2020 campaign, advisors privately warned Joe Biden that loosening certain Trump-era border restrictions could create chaos at the southern border. They told him it could spark a surge big enough to overwhelm processing systems and lead to a humanitarian crisis. The memo even laid out ways to reduce that risk, things like tightening asylum standards and keeping applicants in temporary reception centers. But Biden didn't adopt those ideas. And once he was in office, some of his policy staff continued pushing for stronger enforcement. But senior aides reportedly hesitated, worried about upsetting progressives and believing immigration wasn't a top voter concern outside border states. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is making headlines for one of his transition picks, a formerly incarcerated rapper turned activist. Mamdani has appointed Bronx organizer and former rapper Mysone Lennon to his transition team's criminal justice committee. Lennon served 7 years in prison for 2 armed robberies in the late 90s, and his debut album with Def Jam was derailed by that conviction. But in the years since, he's rebuilt himself as a community leader focused on gun violence prevention and criminal justice reform. His appointment is drawing mixed reactions. Critics highlight his past conviction in a photo of him with Louis Farrakhan, while supporters say his lived experience and years of advocacy make him exactly the kind of voice needed in shaping policy. So, what do you think? The comment section is open. And Yellowstone National Park is warning winter tourists, whatever you do, don't wear cotton. The Park Service says cotton becomes dangerous in extreme cold because it dries so slowly, meaning once it gets wet, it can leave you freezing fast in Yellowstone's winter temperatures, which can drop to 30 below at night. Instead, they're urging visitors to wear wool or synthetic base layers, plus windproof jackets, warm socks, and insulated boots. Basically, if you're heading into Yellowstone's deep freeze this winter, what you choose to wear can be a real safety issue. But I'm going to go one step further and say, Yellowstone or not, if you are cold, this is actually great advice. Coming up, why your home might be worth less, why Notre Dame is bowing out of bowl season, and why Google thinks 2026 is the year of AI smart glasses. All ahead on the Flyover podcast. But first, thank you so much to our sponsor, Cozy Earth. You know, this time of year always feels a little chaotic. It's December, right? So we're rushing, the wrapping of the gifts, the running around. But at the end of the day, I personally look forward to slowing down, getting cozy, and just being present. That's exactly where Cozy Earth comes in. Their bamboo sheets made from viscose from bamboo have been a game changer for me. They are so soft and somehow keep you warm without overheating. And the more you wash them, like I just washed mine yesterday and I climbed into bed and I was like, oh, it is heaven. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. And their bubble cuddle blanket, it's become our family's favorite for movie nights. It is plush, textured, and it feels heavy and weighted and like the most luxurious hug. It's the kind of gift that feels more like an experience than a product. Everything from Cozy Earth comes with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty, so it's completely risk-free. If you want to give the gift of everyday luxury this holiday season, head to CozyEarth.com and use my code FLYOVER for up to 40% off. Just order by December 12th for guaranteed Christmas delivery. By the way, I even used Flyover for up to 40% off, and I just bought my dad a pair of pants and 2 shirts, and I know he's going to look and feel so good in them. By the way, if you're listening after December 12th, no worries. The code still works year-round for 20% off. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure you mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here on the Flyover podcast. Give the gift of comfort that lasts far beyond the holidays and into a very cozy new year. In finance, the Federal Reserve kicked off its 2-day December meeting today, and most analysts expect we'll see another interest rate cut announced on Wednesday, even as concerns linger about a soft labor market and stubborn inflation. We'll have the full details once that decision comes down. The Social Security Administration just released new data showing how much the average Social Security payment is in every state. Connecticut comes in at the top of the list, while Mississippi ranks 50th. You can check your state's average in the show notes below. And a tougher headline for homeowners: more than half of all U.S. homes lost value over the past year, the highest rate of depreciation we've seen since 2012. The steepest drops are hitting Sunbelt and West Coast cities that boomed during the pandemic and are now giving some of that growth back. Here's your stock market update. The markets closed lower across the board on Monday. The Nasdaq slipped 0.14%. The S&P 500 was down 0.35%, and the Dow fell 0.45%. Bitcoin ticked up 0.88%, now just over 91,200, and gold rose slightly to 4,219 an ounce. The big mover of the day was Confluent. Its stock surged 29% after IBM announced an $11 billion acquisition of the company. How about some sports headlines? In men's college basketball, the new AP poll is out, and there's been a shakeup at the top. Purdue slid 5 spots down to number 6 this week, and Arizona moves in as the new number 1 team in the country. Arkansas made the biggest jump, climbing 8 spots to number 17. In college football, bowl season is officially here, with matchups rolling out across the holidays. One of the biggest games on the schedule is Texas versus Michigan on New Year's Eve, one of the most anticipated showdowns of the postseason. But you can check out the entire bowl game schedule linked in today's show notes. Meanwhile, Notre Dame has decided to withdraw from bowl game consideration altogether after missing the final college football playoff cut. The athletic director did not hold back, calling the rankings a, quote, farce and, quote, a total waste of time. And in baseball, former Giants second baseman Jeff Kent has been elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. His longtime teammate Barry Bonds was left off the list again, and under current rules, if he doesn't secure at least 5 votes by 2031, he won't appear on future ballots. Here's what's happening in science and technology. Warby Parker and Google are teaming up on a new pair of lightweight, AI-powered smart glasses set to launch in 2026. It's Google's first major move back into augmented reality since it shelved Google Glass nearly a decade ago. And both companies say these new frames are designed to look and feel like normal glasses with AI tools built in. Would you wear these out of curiosity? Or does anyone own a pair of AI-powered glasses? Let me know in the comments section. Next, a geomagnetic storm triggered by a recent solar flare is expected to hit Earth today, and it could put on quite a show. If conditions line up, the northern lights may be visible across a big stretch of the northern U.S. from Alaska and Washington to the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, and even Maine. Make sure you look up for it. And after 245 days in space, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim and cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zabritsky have returned home. Their capsule left the International Space Station Monday night and touched down safely in Kazakhstan early this morning. You can see the landing video linked in today's show notes. Here are a lot of extra headlines to leave you with today. We talked about this just the other day, but Pantone's 2026 color of the year, Well, if you remember, it's a soft off-white shade called Cloud Dancer. Well, it's not getting exactly a warm reception online. Critics are melting down, accusing Pantone of being tone deaf and even whitewashing. You can see some of the reactions in today's show notes. More than 800 holiday care packages meant for U.S. service members overseas were rejected this season because the word toiletries was considered too vague under new international shipping rules. Most of those packages now won't make it in time for Christmas. In Brazil, armed thieves pulled off a major art heist at Sao Paulo's library, stealing 13 works, including 8 Matisse engravings from his 1947 jazz album and 5 pieces by Brazilian painter Portinari. Authorities are still searching for the suspects. Meanwhile, Englewood, Florida has been named America's most affordable warm weather winter destination. The median nightly rate is just $64, and travelers get mid-70s temperatures and Gulf Coast beaches about 30 miles south of Sarasota. And here's an odd one. Travel expert says that he always wears long sleeves at airport security. After running more than 200 experiments, he found that passengers with visible tattoos are pulled aside 9 times more than those without. So his advice, cover up if you want to get through TSA a little bit faster. Here are the results of yesterday's poll question. Do you use self-checkout when it's available? 53% said sometimes, 28% said always, and 20% said never. Thanks to all who voted. And here's today's poll question. How many languages besides English can you say I love you in? Is it 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 or more, or none? I can say I love you in 2 languages, te amo and sarangheo. That's Spanish and Korean. I learned the Korean one when I went to the Olympics in South Korea, and I got to witness my sister-in-law win a gold medal for the women's ice hockey team. And me as a performer, I also got to sing at the Winter Olympics back in 2018. So I will never forget how to say I love you in Korean. Here's the trivia question. What bird has the longest wingspan? Here's the answer. The Guinness Book of World Records claims the largest wingspan of any living bird was measured on a wandering albatross caught by scientists in Antarctica in 1965, stretching nearly 12 feet. The average wandering albatross has a wingspan of about 10.5 feet, the largest of any bird. They're long-distance animals capable of traveling more than 75,000 miles in a single year. That is so fascinating. And thank you so much for joining me today on the Flyover Podcast. As you head into the rest of your day, stay warm, look out for a neighbor, and lead with a little kindness. May your belly be full, your mind stay sharp, and your spirit feel light. I hope that was a good pep talk. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, thanks for flying with us.